What is up, everybody? It is Rust Belt Perspective here. Today is Sunday, November 5th, 2023, and with us being exactly 1 year away from Election Day next year, I think it is a good time to predict the presidential race between what's looking likely to be incumbent President Biden versus former President Trump, as Trump is very much dominating the 2024 Republican primary polls, while of course Biden, the incumbent, declared his intention to rerun a while ago. Um, so these two very competitive. You look at the numbers. Donald Trump, nationwide, he is unfavorable by over 14 points. So that does look bad for Trump. But then when you go ahead and look at Joe Biden's approval rating, you see he is disapproved of by almost an identical number. So in reality, both Trump and Biden are pretty equally unpopular at least a year before election day they are. So that kind of goes to show neither candidate really has the upper hand over the other as far as that goes. So we kind of got to look state by state here, because even if we look at the uh, general election between Trump and Biden nationwide, it is pretty back and forth. You got Trump and Biden both with their share of wins. You got a couple evens in there, and neither candidate is really winning by a large margin by any means. So it is very close between these two as we gear up for what is looking to be another competitive election cycle, like we have seen these past few of them. So we'll start out by characterizing the safe states. We'll start out with all the safe Democratic states. Of course, there's the uh, well-known blue wall the Democrats have relied on for a long time that starts in the West and spans through a lot of the New England territory. And then you have, of course, New York, Illinois, and then so that's pretty much it for the Democratic safe states. But the Republicans, though, they have their Red Sea as well. They have their share of states uh, throughout the country as well. And then you make your way to the socially conservative South, and this is about it for safe Republican states. So the Democrats do have quite a bit of a lead here as far as safe states go. But when we get into more competitive states, it gets to be a lot more interesting between Trump and Biden. We'll start looking at some likely states for the Republicans. You got Iowa and Ohio. These are two states that Trump has been able to stake down big time since he took over back in 2012 and even 08. Both Iowa and Ohio went blue for Obama, as did the rest of the Rust Belt. But then when Trump came in play in 2016, he of course made a lot of big breakthroughs through the Rust Belt, including Iowa and Ohio, winning them by substantial margins, and he once again won them in 2020 by margins of about 8 point each. And that was when the national mood was very bad against Trump, but favorable to Biden. This time it is not favorable to Biden. It's not necessarily in Trump's favor, but it's a lot more equal of a playing field now. So there is no doubt in my mind that Iowa and Ohio will go back to Trump, just not quite by the 15-point threshold needed for them to be considered safe states. Um, Similarly, Nebraska's second, or not Nebraska's, Maine second district, I think will likely go to Trump. That was a district that was considered to be a lot more competitive coming into this 2020 election, but Trump still won it by over 7 points after he already won it by 10 in 2016. And again, with the unpopularity of with being more of a more even playing field, I think that Trump will retain that district. Florida, I think, goes to Trump by over 5 points this time after it was a lot closer in both 2016 and 2020. Florida was one of the only states that shifted red closer, even more for Trump in 2020 relative to 2016, despite Trump's big unpopularity at the time. And you saw in 2022, Rubio and DeSantis both crushed it here, and I think Trump will continue the Republican success in Florida, even more so than he did previously. And of course, the Democrats are also disorganized in the state, which does not help their cause either. Texas, I think, will go to Trump by like 7, 8 points. Yes, Trump isn't the most appealing Republican down here, but he's also still doing fine in the polls down here, and he still won it by 5.5 when the national mood was really bad against him that year in 2020, and so I think he'll get a little bit of a boost from then. I think we're looking at like 7, 8 points. Won't be anything crazy, but he should hang on to it comfortably. Alaska, I think that'll be a state that goes back to Trump just fine. He still won it by 10 in 2020. And while the Democrats are continuing to see success here, I don't see them shifting the state 10 or even 5 points. And even in 2022, this was a Republican-dominated Senate race, and even on the governor level, uh, you saw Mike Dunleavy won it big time. So yes, it will be within 15 points. It might even get within 10 points, but the Republicans should win it just fine. So that's it for the likely Republican states, as they now have about a 30, exactly 30-point electoral vote lead over the Democrats. But the Democrats, of course, have their share of likely states as well. We'll start out small with Nebraska's second district. It's a district that Biden won by, I believe, 6 points in 2020, and there's been not much of an indicator that this will shift back towards the Republicans. And even if it does, the Republicans have got a lot of ground to cover, and I don't think they're super worried about one electoral vote right now. So I don't think they're going to spend a lot of time campaigning here. I think Biden will hold on to the second district of Nebraska. Colorado and New Mexico, these states have definitely continued to go in the Democrats' favor. You look back at the 2022 Senate elections, Michael Bennet won re-election here with a lot of ease, and on the governor level, both these states were firmly blue. It's going to take a lot for the Republicans to break through here, and especially with Trump not being super Sunbelt friendly, there's no doubt in my mind that these states will go back to Biden, just not quite by 15 points in this competitive election. Virginia is also a state that I think Biden will hold on to by like 6, 7 points. Glenn Youngkin, the Republican governor, is popular here, which does help the Republicans in Virginia, but ultimately I don't think it's going to be a dramatic swing for the Republicans or anything. Federally, it is definitely blue leading, and Biden won it by 10 in 2020. The Republicans aren't going to make some big shift here. So the Democrats hold on there. And then New Hampshire, similarly, that's actually shifting even further blue. The Senate race in 2022, Maggie Hassan she outperformed expectations big time. This race got really close, projected to be very close, right around the time the election occurred, and Hassan outperformed all those polls big time and won by 9. And Biden also soundly won here in 2020, shifting it his way quite a bit more than when Hillary Clinton very narrowly won it in 2016. So with this state continuing to go blue, there is very little doubt in my mind that New Hampshire firmly remains in the hands of the Democrats. Minnesota, I took a closer look at. Looked at the polls between Trump and Biden in this state, and Biden, he's doing fine. He is projected to win there, and the Republicans haven't really come close to breaking the state much. Biden won it by 7 in 2020, and Minnesota has not gone red in a super, super long time. I would be very surprised to see it flip red here. I think Biden will do fine. Amy Klobuchar is a popular Democrat in the state. She's also running in 2024, so that'll definitely help the Democrats' cause there. So I think that is it for likely states and districts for that matter. So it's a lot closer now. The Democrats are up by 13 as we... Or wait, I forgot. Utah. That is a safe Republican state. I don't know how I missed that at the very beginning. Yes, don't really have to explain that one. But so now it's even closer. 219 to 226. 7 electoral votes separate the two at the moment as the competitive race moves on. Now these are all states I have not characterized yet that were within 5 points in 2020, and I do believe will be within 5 points again in 2024. So we'll start with the Republicans' lean state of North Carolina. This is a state that Trump was able to hold on to by 1.3 in 2020, despite how much the national mood was against him. And I think he'll be able to hold on to it again. The Republicans continue to succeed in this state, no matter how hard the Democrats try. Trump won it, like I said, those last two times. Romney flipped it in 2012. Obama, despite this historic blue year for the Democrats, Obama very narrowly came through in North Carolina in 2008. And before that, it had very much been a Republican state. It is more Republican than not by a long shot. And even on the Senate level, Bud and Tillis have continued to win here. This state has not gone blue on the Senate level since 2008, at the same time it last went blue on the presidential level. No matter how hard the Democrats try, they cannot break the state. But now, the other side of that, Nevada. The Republicans, no matter how hard they try, they cannot break Nevada. It's always a close one there, but Cortez Masto, Rosen, Biden, Clinton, they've all won the state, no matter how hard the Republicans have tried, and they do it by like 2, 3, 4 points. It's nothing crazy, but they continue to do it. The Republicans can't break Nevada, just like how the Democrats cannot break North Carolina. So now, we're down to the last 5 states. They're all 5 states that voted differently from 2016 to 2020. And we're all the closest states of 2020. And they all remain very competitive now. So we'll start in the Sun Belt. You got Arizona and Georgia. Of course, both states went to. Traditionally, they were going to McCain, Romney, Bush, big time, but Trump does not appeal very well in the Sun Belt. So in 2020, they flipped blue, both very narrowly, but they flipped blue. And it's interesting because if you look at the polls in both of these states, between Trump and Biden, Trump surprisingly has swept the recent polls here. Though I'm going to ignore these two that have Kennedy involved because let's be real, that's not happening. So you got Trump plus 2, Trump plus 5, plus 3, plus 9, plus 4. So it's like on one hand, yes, Trump is seems to be doing fine here as far as the polls go, but then on the other hand, so there's all the runoff polls from the 2022 Senate race between Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker. But you look before the election, and Walker was, in more polls than not, projected to win by a few points. And those polls turned out to be wrong by a few points. You see a lot more red than you do blue here. So that kind of worries me. And then when you factor in the fact that Walker actually won there as recently as 2022 federally against a Trump-endorsed candidate, and then the fact that Trump has all this legal trouble in Georgia right now. So he went to the Fulton County jail recently. I really don't think that bodes well for Trump in Georgia. So at this time, despite the polls, I'm going to say it is leaning Biden's way still. My opinion on this definitely could change, or maybe I'll turn out to be right as we move closer. But for now, I really can't picture Trump winning this state. And then similarly in Arizona, on the presidential level, not the primary, the general election, Trump is surprisingly sweeping the polls. But if you get rid of these third-party ones, it's like you got Trump plus 4, plus 5, plus 2. But I really don't buy that a whole lot because the West is shifting Democratic. You look at the governor race from 2022. Carrie Lake was supposed to win this race per the polls. She was nearly sweeping the polls like Trump is now by a few points. And Katie Hobbs narrowly beat Lake to flip this governorship. But, and then you look at the Senate level. Blake Masters, he was not projected to win against Mark Kelly. These polls were close as they did close to being correct as they did correctly project Kelly to win in most of them. Though the average is 1.5 and Kelly won by like 5 points. So these polls, like in Arizona, seem to be a few points off from like they were in Georgia. And after seeing Kelly win by 5 points and how the West as a whole has been shifting more blue, I really do not see how Trump is going to win this state. I'd be surprised to see it happen. So that leaves us with the Rust Belt, and I'll present to you my first flip of the map, and that's going to be Wisconsin. Uh, the first state I'm flipping from 2020, as Ron Johnson in 2022, he did win here in Wisconsin. It wasn't by quite as much as he was projected to via the polls, as he only won by a single point, but federally, the state did still go to the Republicans. The Trump endorsed Ron Johnson, a close supporter of Trump. And you look at the presidential polls between these two, Trump is narrowly favored, and let's be real, no matter which candidate wins here, it's not going to be a close race between, or it is going to be a close race. Neither side is going to blow the other one out. And the reliable Emerson College believes that Trump wins by 3. And there's another one that thinks he'll win by 2. You got a couple of Democratic-funded polls that are going Biden's way, but that's about it as of recent. You got to go all the way back to June to see Biden win another poll. So it really doesn't bode well for Biden. I think Trump will break Wisconsin. It has been the furthest right of these three, because they always do vote together, although I think that might change this time. But I do believe Wisconsin will stay the furthest right of the three. And then we'll go to the furthest left of the three, Michigan. And I think Biden will narrowly win it. Just a few days ago, I made a video, feel free to check it out, about why I think Michigan will be closer than most think in 2024. So I think it will be a very close race in Michigan. If you want to know more about that, please feel free to check out the video I made a few days ago about it. But overall, the state does continue to be won by the Democrats federally. More times than not, it has every year except 2016, when it very narrowly flipped to Trump. So Biden has a 270, and I think he will win Pennsylvania by more than either of these other two states. Biden will. He won it by 1.2 back in 2020. It was very close, but yeah, here's the thing. Fetterman won the state by 5 points over the Trump-endorsed Mehmet Oz. The polls got Pennsylvania wrong big time in 2022. And you look at Trump versus Biden in 2024, it's very close right now. But after seeing the midterms last year, I find it so hard to vote, or to think that Trump is going to beat Biden. Oz was supposed to have narrowly beat Fetterman here, but that did not come to be. Fetterman won by 5 points, despite his known health issues and everything else that was factored into that. So that pretty much sums it up, my presidential prediction here. It'll definitely be a competitive race, as the numbers are indicating it will be right now, and I could absolutely be wrong. Maybe Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, some or all of them do go red. Maybe even North Carolina will flip blue, like some political experts believe it will. That North Carolina is the Democrats' best chance at a flip right now. Maybe you'll see lighter shades of either color here. Comment down below. What do you think? Do you think Biden prevails? Do you think Trump prevails? Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. Feel free to join my Discord server. This is Rust Belt Perspective, signing out.